What's up, everybody? What's up? I'm back. I'm back again. I know y'all shocked. Well, let me speak. So I'm back again, y'all, to complete that first story. The first story that I just dropped a couple of days ago. The reason why that story came about is because of sentence I had. For y'all that don't know, I ended up getting it overturned into life without, in like 80 years. And me and Mr. Briggs, like I was telling y'all, we sit up on the stairs and discuss the law, civil litigation, and all that. And he was telling me about the enemies of my enemies is his friend, is my friend. So we're gonna have to go back to my initial incarceration when I was in this place we call Indian Springs and stuff. Indian Springs was cool, you know. I was there with my partner Lil West and Lil Macklemore, you know what I'm saying? We was three the hard way. We all was 15 and 16 when we got incarcerated. And we were walking around the yard, you know, kicking it. They had just started allowing us to get the little half gallons of ice cream on there. So we would always be going down to the gym, getting them half a gallons of ice cream and rolling back up, you know. At this time, you know, this was one of the cool prisons to be at, you know what I'm saying? It still was prison, but you had some uh, inside the prison freedoms. And it was cool, you know. This one individual, you know what I'm saying, he came and he was talking bad to us because all of us had a bunch of time, you know. My two partners, they had 10 of lives, but I was the only one with the lives without 80 years, you know. We youngsters. And it was always this one cool dude used to always mess with me. His name was Wayne Wayne. If anybody know Wayne was about 6'6", kind of chubby, heavy set, and he used to be a smoker, crack smoker, you know what I'm saying? But he was always so funny, and he was always cracking these jokes. He'd have his braids in his hair, long braids, and he'd be like, and every time he'd see me, he'd be like, what's up, accident murderer? I ain't no ever heard of ya. You know what I'm saying? Because my neighborhood was fairly new to the scene, you know what I'm saying? And he used to always be cracking me up. So one day he roasting and capping, because that's what Wayne Wayne did. When he seen you, he was going to get you. He was going to cap on you. For all the youngsters don't know what capping is ranking. Ranking is what y'all do, reading, whatever y'all call it. You know what I'm saying? We call it capping and roasting, you know what I'm saying? Wayne Wayne used to be getting at people. So Wayne Wayne was capping one day, and we all sit on the wall eating our ice creams and kicking it. And Wayne Wayne capping on everybody. Well, he started capping on us, you know, as the youngsters, and capping on the other dudes that's in there. And one dude, you know what I'm saying, has some good juice, you know what I'm saying, from the street. You got the capping on him, and he got a little serious with it. So my partner, Lil West, you know what I'm saying, ended up getting into it with this individual because, you know, it's all just funny jokes and funny games. And he thought that he was going to try to, you know, slap my partner, you know what I'm saying? He thought he was going to slap my partner. But, you know, we was three the hard way. We weren't having none of that stuff. At this time, you know, we just introduced to blades and all that stuff. And me, with all the time, I don't want to see none of my partners mess it off because they got opportunity to leave after 10 years. They got the chance to go to the parole board, you know what I'm saying? So what I did, he never completed his mission anyway, with talking about doing something to one of my partners, you know what I'm saying? But at count time, when they opened the doors that night, I got me a big old blade from this one dude named Sarge that was teaching me different techniques of martial arts, you know what I'm saying, at night. And I went to his door. As soon as he opened his door, I slid up in there and pulled that big blade on him, and I told him, let me tell you something, bro. Ain't nobody finna mess with them two. Ain't nobody finna mess with me, bro. I got the most time, and I'm willing to mess mine off. Now, this high-ranking individual thought he was Billy Bad stuff, you know what I'm saying? So instead of him just going ahead and accepting this L, he didn't want to accept that L, you know what I'm saying? I ain't accepting no L because I'm such and such from the street. I ain't gonna mention his name because plenty of y'all know him. So this was my first time just cutting somebody. So I didn't really poke him because I was just fresh in the prison, you know? I'm young, I ain't know nothing about it. And so when he rose up, kind of stuck him a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Stuck him a little bit in his little arm, and he panicked. And I'm thinking in my mind, this big bad dude, shoot him up, bang bang on the street. Squeal like a pig. He squealed like a pig. You know what I'm saying? Scared to death of that heat. You know what I'm saying? That was up on him. That was interesting. But that leads back to this story right here. When I was telling y'all he was talking about the friends of a friends and the friends of an enemy, he's talking about my partner. Years later, you know what I'm saying? Once I was getting my case overturned and I was getting ready to come home, he was so sad and upset. You know, and I was sad too, but happy that I was leaving. And the way this all transpired, because it came across TV and it said, from child to man. Because I had been in there from a child and now I was a man. And they said it gets his case overturned and so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? A lot of individuals seen on the TV and they come banging on the door. Man, what's up? Man, Big Jim, man, you getting out? Boo, boo, boo. So forth and so on. And when you get ready to go home in prison, nobody likes that, especially individuals you've been in there with for a long time. And this individual, from that day on, he started acting funny. But my teacher had already told me, you know what I'm saying, you got to watch him when you're going home, because they'll try to either, one, keep you up in here, well, then you catch another case, or two, kill you. So I couldn't have none of that, so I was staying strapped, you know what I'm saying? But I remember a day or two before I got ready to leave, my partner, who had them hands, you know what I'm saying? He always had them hands for years. He worked out for years. He boxed in there just like I boxed in there. And it was always, you know, me, him, and a couple other individuals the hard way. My door popped. I opened my door because I was getting ready to go out for breakfast, and there he is standing there at the door like he gonna come in there and do something. But one thing he didn't like doing, he didn't like playing with them knives. And once again, I've always played with the knives because that's the way I was taught up in there. So I seen it in his eyes, you know what I'm saying? He came to do what he's gonna do because he about that life, but he didn't want to do what he had to do. So I wasn't finna let nobody do nothing to me, even though I was getting ready to go home. I can't scar no 20-year record. Why would I scar a 20-year record? You know what I'm saying? So I made a conscious decision right then, after all that time, all that fighting, all that hurt, all that pain. I pulled my knife out and I said, let me tell you something, bro. I love you. But you ain't finna put your hands on me. You ain't finna do nothing to me, bro. I hope this don't have to go any further than this, bro. But if you're willing to take it there, I'm willing to go there, bro. He looked, I looked, we both was hurt. You know what I'm saying? We both was hurt. Bad situation, you know what I'm saying, to be placed in. But that's the games that prisons play. Those are the prison politics, especially when you someone who been there with life without and no hope of going home, you know. And I've been sitting in this little box for 20 years. And it all comes down to this moment right here. Of course, when you get your sentence overturned, you can PC up. You're not the police. They didn't even give you the option to lock you up in PC and do different things like that. But all that time, you know, and going through 6-month reviews with no date. Y'all don't know how that feel, the mental abuse and the mental toll that takes on the individual, especially a child being in prison with all that time. The phrase, ignorance is bliss, it definitely applies, bro. That is some true stuff, because had I known about life and how things go with life, with your woman, your wife, your kids, and so forth and so on, I don't think I probably would have made it out that prison. I'm just gonna be honest, because I didn't know nothing about those things. So I was unable to grasp the concept when someone came and sat on my bed and talked about, man, my girl tripping, man. She got some dude over there with my kids. And my thing was, I always used to think in my mind, and I would voice this to him, bro, I don't care nothing about none of that stuff, bro. You didn't think about that, your kid, before you committed whatever crime you committed to come up in here, bro. You didn't think about your wife that you tell me you love so much for you committed the crime to come up in here, bro. He's like, oh man, you cold, bro. Big homie, you tripping, man. But they didn't know that mentally I couldn't grasp the concept of loving someone like that, having a bond with your child like that. I didn't know nothing about that stuff. So my frame of mind on that was different. it was skewed, as you could say, you know what I'm saying, to things like that, because I was prison. I was raised in a prison. I was prison. You know what I'm saying? I'm hoping to get enough time out here that I did in prison. You know what I'm saying? But all of that to say that me and him stood at that door, man, and for at least a 30 seconds to a minute, you know what I'm saying, had passed as we looked at each other. He started crying and made me shed a tear, you know, and I hadn't shed a tear in 20 years. No, I'm lying. Because when they told me my case was overturned, people kept banging on my door, letting me know that I was finally going home. You definitely right, I shed some tears. And he just turned around, and by this time, other individuals that came out on the tier for breakfast, you know what I'm saying? And he left. I put my thing up, not up to where I wasn't taking it to breakfast with me, but up to where I could stroll, you know, going on and roll out to go to breakfast and stuff, you know what I'm saying? And I'm going to get more in depth about how surviving with life without in the prison is, you know what I'm saying, and having no hope of going home. But I'm going to get into that on my next story, y'all. I'm going to cut this one off. I'll drop this to y'all tonight. Thank y'all again for coming and listening to my story, you know what I'm saying? I always remember to let me speak.